Hi everybody, thanks for having me. I'm Nathan with Concessions on Demand. Sorry, that light's a little intense there. My business primarily is making electronics for custom luxury movie theater recliners. And 8 years ago, I was at a hockey game in Grand Rapids, and I had a hope, kind of a dream, to have a hot dog delivered to my seat. I didn't want to get up and miss the game. Nobody brought it to me. And through the course of our business, selling theater electronics, we've talked to a lot of theater owners, we've talked to a lot of theater operators, and they've told us two things. The first is that most of their profits, we've heard up to 85%, come from concession sales. And the second is that when a line gets long, people skip the concession line, and they don't get an opportunity to sell to those people who are the for the sales that are their primary revenue generators. Now, through the course of our business, I've taken that idea, or dream really, that I had 8 years ago, and we've refined it and we've honed it for our existing business, which is theater electronics. And what we have is something called Concessions on Demand. It's a patent-pending, wireless, touchscreen device that allows you to order anything. The hot dog is one example. From your seat, it embeds right in your seat, obviously. You order it, submit it, somebody brings it out to you, you swipe your card, you enjoy it. I get my idea of a hot dog or popcorn or pop delivered to me. The theater owners get that chance to sell to me when I skip the line for a variety of reasons, usually the length of the line. So what we've been doing in the last 18 months is developing this software, the hardware as well. We went to CinemaCon. We now have a commitment on a 500-piece order in Metro Detroit. And we've been talking with the point-of-sale companies. If you're familiar with retail at all, you know the point-of-sale company is how all the transactions go. So we've been talking with the two biggest, and our final thing is we've nearly finalized our hardware specifications and our hardware design. So what we're doing at this point in time is we're looking to raise funds, about $250,000, to continue our sales initiative. We've talked to probably 60 theaters. We have some with 20,000 seats who are very interested. And finish our integration and finish our hardware. I forgot to add that we're selling this as a subscription service. So we sell the device directly to the theaters, we install it, we maintain it, they pay us a fixed fee every month. So that's the extent of my pitch. I guess I have about 2.5 minutes left here. We can take this over to the bar afterwards and play with it. If I'd have known this is the way it was going to go, we'd load the whole drink menu on it. We could have just left that up there for the theaters to deliver it to us since they're low on staff. But in the meantime, you'll just be able to play with it, or we can order one beer. That's the only alcoholic beverage on here. But do you have any questions? Yes.
So how does that work? So you're in a theater, and then it would just be like part of your armchair, of your seat,
Yeah,
and you just say, I want a hot dog?
Yeah, I might have forgotten to say, we're up north, and apparently we're behind the times, but you kind of go below the Mason-Dixon line, and everybody has these gigantic theater seat electronics. That's where, or giant reclining theater seats. I think they're 30 inches wide, Paul? Roughly 30 inches wide. The armrests are 6 inches wide, which is more than enough to put this in it, in a massive cup holder as well. It's not the standard seats you're used to around here that's 1.5 inches and your elbows are tucked in. But yeah, it's in your armrest and you order what you like.
So do you have an idea to move them towards stadium? Like, you know, that's a big theater seat is much different than a stadium seat, but you said your dream for the hot dog initially occurred while you were watching a hockey game.
Yeah, and at the time I worked for a seating manufacturer, and I looked at the seats that are, hockey was bleachers, but the seats that are usually sold into arenas, and that armrest is about 1.5 inches wide, and that's why it took me 7.5 years to get there, because there wasn't any way to fit something like this into a standard seat. But as soon as this wave broke of the reclining chairs, it opened the door for Concessions on Demand.
So you can't do this on your own, it's not an app on my own iPhone.
That was, when I had the hockey idea, I gave up on it because it was, I thought, oh, everybody can do this on a phone. But when we started to grow into the theater market, we saw a niche where every time you go into a theater, they say, turn off your phone or we'll kick you out. And we've talked to the two major POS companies, and they tell us, well, we've developed our own app and nobody wants it because they're telling people to turn their light off, don't text, don't let your phone ring. And then the next thing we say is pull your phone out and order the popcorn. So it really is a niche market for us, where we have the dark environment, we control the light level, and we control the sound level. Yes?
Sales primarily prior to the movie or during the movie?
We are targeting the previews, the preview run. We've had some provider. Anybody familiar with the dine-in theater where you actually go and you order a steak? We've had some dine-in theaters that are interested in having it run through the whole show, and I have a different demo in the back where we show how it dims and turns off during the show, and it also prompts you for a refill. I don't think we have that demo with us. But our target is for the previews we allow people to order during the movie if they want to. Yes, sir.
A couple of questions.
Yep.
First, how many of these do you have out there operating right now?
We do not have any operating right now. We have an agreement for 500. That install comes in March.
Okay, and then have you thought about going into like McDonald's and restaurants and stuff like that?
Again, it's not really our niche. We may expand out of that later, but we're trying to get a foothold in the theater market right now because of the interaction piece, where in a normal theater or a normal restaurant you can talk to a person. In a movie theater, talking to a person is much harder because you're trying to watch a movie.
And then one other, sorry, what are you looking for? Are you looking for investors?
We are looking for investors at this point in time to get us over the hump of integration, finishing our hardware, and expanding our sales efforts. There's another question over there? Sure.
Is this going to require theaters to have additional staffing to run around and?
We've heard from theaters both sides of it. On the one hand, in a dine-in theater where they are already staffing it, it's about a 50% labor reduction because nobody has to come out and take your order and then go back. So it's just a one trip, it's deliver. We've also heard from like general admission theaters that it might drive their labor costs up because they're now running it out. We've got some ROI calculations in the prospectus that shows basically that it covers that cost and then some. Yes, sir.
Do you envision expanding this into restaurants?
It's not our primary goal. If we get a strong foothold in theaters, we'd be glad to do that. But right now we're trying to focus on our niche and get the foothold there before we take it out. I assume that once we get integrated with Aloha, which is a theater restaurant, that will expand on its own. But we're focusing our sales efforts on theaters at the moment.
So is the Android platform? Is that where
It is running on Android in the background. You don't know. It's
Yeah.
just like running Windows.
And you guys have a tablet you found? You're sticking to one tablet, or like you're developing your hardware? Is that
Yes.
sort of more the cases around
We
it,
found there's a case around it,
Yeah.
and we've talked with the manufacturer of this device, and they're going to custom tool the housing for us and leave off all the electronics we don't need, like
Oh, nice.
speakers.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
From a monetization standpoint, have you considered charging a percentage of the incremental sales rather than just hardware costs?
We've talked about a few different things. That the main idea is a subscription. We're not selling it up front. We want the management. And we could get into that if theaters really want to, but right now we're leading with our monthly service fee charge.
What's the backend system like?
The back-end system, we can show it to you again after the show. It runs on a touchscreen tablet, and it also will integrate with the Vista and POS. But it's just a bump screen. It pulls up by theater what the orders are, and we have a third device that the server carries, tells them what they're delivering to whom, and when they get there, they swipe the card right on that device. Yeah.
Is there electricity at the seat that will power that?
Yes, that's what we do. We supply the controls for the recliner controls, I suppose you call it. The motor's in there. We can strip power right off of that. That was additional reason why it took so long, is because we didn't think anybody would want to run 5 volts or 24 volts throughout the whole theater, but now that they're running power anyway, it's a moot point. Anyone else?
All right.
Very good.
Thank you.